Hello and welcome to your slightly delayed weekend wrap for Ranchers and Banters. I'm your co-host Briley, joined by my co-host Luke, and we're going to get straight into breaking down NFL Week 1. And we'll start with the Ravens and Chiefs game, 27-20 Chiefs, 805 total yards of offense. 270 at least in the air from each quarterback. Luke, what do you think of this game?
It was, like a fun watch starting week one. I thought there were too many penalties, and I think that was a trend of the weekend. I think there were too many flags, and we should have known Thursday night with all the tackles being called starting in the backfield. I think it was Staley multiple times for the Ravens, and then just weird calls that were slowing down games. I felt like most of these football games, and that one particularly Thursday night, took forever for the clobbering that the Chiefs put on, really.
So you don't think the scoreline was as close as the game really let on?
No. There was a closeness at the end there with the foot on the line. There was a good shot there for likely to end the game, but I think going to overtime, even Chiefs probably win that one. They seemed more in command of that game through most of it, especially on defense.
All right. Think we'll see this matchup again in the postseason, or this will be it in between these two teams this year?
We can hope. Different outcome in the postseason.
Yes, there we go. Absolutely. All right. And then Friday night we had your Green Bay Packers against the Philadelphia Eagles. I guess we kind of... Did we already touch on that?
Yeah, we got like an immediate reaction from me. Yeah.
Right. So I guess the Jordan Love news has come out since then. Is 3 to 6 weeks still what they're saying?
Yeah, Matt LaFleur isn't even committing to 3 weeks. He's going to treat it as like a day-to-day. If he's good to go, he's going to play. I don't think he'll be playing on Sunday, and I don't think he should, especially off a MCL sprain. That's just asking for aggravating it, and I wouldn't mess with it, Matt LaFleur or the Packers. It's just sit him down, get him back fully healthy against like Minnesota in 3 weeks.
All right. So then the first, we'll go through the Sunday games. First one we had on the predictions was Pittsburgh and at Atlanta, and the Steelers come out on top, 18-10 in that one. Pretty quiet game other than the 3 Falcon giveaways. Looked like 3 turnovers for the Falcons. Do you think that was the decider in that one?
Yeah, Kirk kind of put up a stinker. Didn't look good. Looked like he was coming off of an injury, which he is. Biggest takeaway though is Michael Penix. He might be a winner after last week because Kirk Cousins can't figure it out. They might actually switch it over to him.
All right. Do you think how long do you give Cousins? I mean, he is going up against the Eagles and the Chiefs in the next 2 weeks. So, is that a fair litmus test for him?
Oh, we're talking like half the season here because it's Kirk Cousins. He's got a long leash, but if you're counting wins, that Pittsburgh game is a win for Penix because Kirk looked horrible.
All right.
And Pittsburgh, they didn't score a single touchdown on offense, so.
Okay. Got it.
Actually, I don't think they scored a single touchdown at all. I could be wrong. Could be that game. Yeah.
Yeah, 2-9 on third downs doesn't seem like it's gonna cut it. After that, we had Arizona and Buffalo, and Buffalo comes out with a win there, 34-28. Was this game closer than it should have been for the Bills?
I'm saying it was their litmus test to see what the offense is like, and they figured out, like Keon Coleman's a good target. He got 9, I think, on Sunday. Caught 7. They got to get their tight ends more involved, which they didn't do, which I'm sure they will. They shared between the two of them like 3 targets. Like they'll figure it out. Josh Allen's rushing for touchdowns still. James Cook's still good. Defense, I mean, they look like what they're supposed to be. They're almost a new group completely. I mean, they've got 2 new safeties back there. So, and Arizona's like they're like sneaky good on offense. It's the defense that's really bad because you got Kyler Murray still, and Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison, if he ever gets a target, supposed to be really good. So yeah, I mean Arizona will score at will. I think for a lot of the season, it's just most of their defense is bad, and the Bills were able to score enough on it.
Well, the defense may be bad. I do believe they had the first special teams kick return off the kickoff for a touchdown with the new rules. So something to be said there. And then the only thing I saw from that game other than that was we've got Bills Mafia jumping off buses onto tables now. Did you see that?
I did, yes. I hope that guy's back is A-okay. That did not look pleasant.
Yeah, he might be taking it off at the gym for a few weeks there after that one. But
the kegs were flowing that day, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. Tennessee and Chicago after that, and Chicago squeaks out a win late in that one. Was that a fluke win for the Bears? Did the Titans just absolutely collapse? What happened?
Well, Callahan himself, the Titans head coach, after the game said if we just punt on first down every drive, we would have won. And I think that is probably true. They did more damage themselves on offense than they did anything else because the Bears' offense could not get anything going. They got in range of 1 field goal, and that was all they were able to manage with Caleb Williams. Not surprised. I mean, that's like the first Caleb Williams game. That's going to be like his welcome to the NFL. And look, the Titans' defensive line isn't really a slouch. Like they know how to get after it. So, hey, Caleb, welcome. They show different kinds of coverages, little disguise stuff, I guess. Maybe it was fooling him. I'm not really sure. I mean, he lost a wide receiver, too. Good news for the Chicago Bears is that their defense still kills and their special teams is good.
Yeah, Caleb had 14 completed passes for 93 yards. Not a super impressive stat line there, but there were only 392 total yards offense in that game, so I guess 93 of that isn't terrible. But New England at Cincinnati, and that was probably the biggest shock of the weekend.
Yeah. What a shit show, honestly, for Cincinnati. I mean, they get off the cold starts. It's been their thing now the last 3 years from the Super Bowl year. They could not move the ball. They needed T. Higgins for sure. He was out. They needed Jamar Chase. He was on limited snaps because he missed all of camp. Like, you get to camp, you get somebody on the field more than 60% of those snaps. Maybe Joe Burrow has somebody to throw it to. I don't know. All credit to the Patriots, though. They knew what they were going to do coming into Cincinnati. Took care of business. They ran it right down their throat for, was it 170 yards from Andre? I did not write that one down, but he was popping off.
Yeah, he had 25 carries, 120 yards, 1 touchdown, and I know that he had at least a 60-yarder in there somewhere, I think. But how does Cincinnati recover for the Chiefs this Sunday?
Well, they won't beat the Chiefs. I don't think they'll beat them. But if you get both wide receivers on the field, you might actually score some points on offense. That'll probably help a lot.
Yeah, maybe just get some confidence there. We have Houston at Indianapolis after that. And let's see if I can open my eyes and find it in my notes. 29-27. Texans win over the Colts. I know you have a Colts fan in your house, Luke. Well, did you get to watch any of that?
No, we were slogged down by that Cincinnati New England game.
Mm.
So, but yeah, Anthony Richardson's got a lot of arm talent. He showcased it twice on two basically Hail Marys. I mean, they're wide open, but two deep shots. I don't think he had many other completed passes. I think he only had 9 for like 18. So I mean, like, there's a ton of upside there for Indy, but I mean, the Houston Texans were in a lot of a lot of control of that game, and probably a lot closer than it should have been if you're a Texans fan.
All right. Can the Colts win through those explosive plays? Are there other places that's the case, or do you think that was just a rarity that they had two really long plays like that?
Well, it's on film now, so like, I mean, I'm sure most defensive coordinators are going to be like, don't get beat over the top by these guys because Anthony Richardson can hit a dart 60 yards downfield. He did not miss those passes, so.
Mm-hmm. All right, Jaguars at the Dolphins, and the Dolphins come out on top 20-17. Not a high-scoring game, but there were a lot of total yards of offense for the score line. Tua goes for 338 yards in the air, one passing touchdown, which was an 80-yard pass to Tyreek Hill, who was detained on his way to the stadium, as was one of his teammates, Chris Campbell. And we're not a political podcast, so we won't talk too much about that. But a good bounce back for Hill in that game. Can't imagine being in handcuffs a few hours before the game starts and still playing that well. Is Miami's reliance on their offense going to be sustainable this year?
Yeah, if you can, get explosive plays, it won't always have to be Hill either. I mean, Waddle's got the same type of route running and speed. I mean, they'll be able to score like that. I'm sure at some point it will be more than 17 points as well. I mean, 20 even with the field goal, but they'll be able to score. It was a little bit of a sloppy game, I would say. It's from Jacksonville. There are a couple turnovers. They probably went back, especially Etienne. I mean, he fumbled on the play before Tyreek Hill's touchdown. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That fumble was into the end zone too. I mean, that would have been another Jacksonville score. So I'm sure they're kicking themselves a little bit more. But yeah, Miami will be able to score, and I think they'll have to.
Okay. Then we had the Carolina Panthers at the New Orleans Saints. And there is not a lot of talk about this game in North Carolina this week, I'll tell you that, Luke.
I think Derek Carr throwing up the three-peat, maybe the mellow on J.C. Horn for talking trash to him during the game. That might have been the highlight. I think we can safely move the Carolina Panthers down to do not watch. They are in tank bowl contention every week. Bryce did not look good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, first pass of the season is an interception. I mean, if that doesn't set the tone, I don't know. I don't know what does. Then the last 1 o'clock game we had on Sunday was the Vikings at the New York Giants, what we thought might be a tank bowl special, but one team didn't make it look too much like a tank bowl. Are the Vikings a little better than we gave them credit for? Or are the Giants just really this bad of a team?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and lean towards the Giants are possibly one of the worst teams I've ever seen play football. I'm not willing to give Minnesota too much credit. That defense looked better than what I thought they were going to be for the Vikings, but also it was Danny Dimes. I don't know what else to say about that. I think they're a little bit too high on themselves for that. They get quite the humbling this week against San Francisco, and I look forward to that.
I believe it. All right. Then after that, first 4 o'clock game we had was the Las Vegas Raiders at the Los Angeles Chargers. And you know I have plenty to say about that, Luke.
Yeah.
About a little over 600 yards total offense in that game, split 296 for the Raiders, 316 for the Chargers. Gardner Minshew has to be the player of the game, though. I mean, 25 completions, 257 yards in the air, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But at the end of the day, only 10 points on the board for the Raiders. So all that from their quarterback, and they can't convert on it. I'll say the Chargers had me concerned for most of this game. I love Cameron Dicker to death, but he should not have been the only player to score for the first 3 quarters. And they made me sweat it going into that fourth quarter with only 9 points on the board. But through a rushing offense and a defense that was able to actually contain the Las Vegas Raiders, we are able to pull out a win. The Raiders have a 4th and 1 late in the game, either in Chargers territory or very close. They don't go for it, take delay a game penalty, and then punt the ball away. Chargers go down, score a touchdown, and then Jack Jones goes straight at Josh Palmer. First it's just a scrap, and then everybody's on the field after that, and just a mass. I don't want to use the term brawl, that's what they're going to say, but I mean, there wasn't a lot of fighting, just a lot of congregating out there. But eventually it's all broken up. And the real brawls seem to happen in the stands. Saw several videos of some Raiders fans going at it after that. But the LA Chargers are officially 1-0 in the Jim Harbaugh area. It felt great to get that win. You could tell how fired up he was in the locker room and after the game, and even into some interviews yesterday as well. So I guess my question to you, Luke, is what kind of contention are the Chargers in if we actually do have a late run game and some sort of defense? Does that completely change the game with Justin Herbert?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I saw all weekend was the cleanliness of that pocket. I mean, they have Max Crosby on the Vegas side. He had 0 pressures. So
Yeah,
I think that's going to help. And the running game is going to help Herbert more than anything.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because I think there were some serious questions in the Charger fan base about picking Joe Alt there in the as high as we did. And I think all of those questions were thoroughly answered this last weekend, as he got that tough assignment in his first game as a rookie against Max Crosby, and like you said, not a single pressure threw on him on that one. And then we also had at 4 o'clock Denver at Seattle, and that ends 26-20, Seattle on top. I tried to look through the stats. Obviously, I didn't watch this game because I was a little too busy watching the Chargers. Luke, did you see anything? Because from a stat perspective, this looked pretty dull.
Yeah, Bo Nix looks like a rookie. He also does not look like a first-round pick. The Seattle defense was taking it to town on him a little bit, picked him off early. I mean, he didn't take care of the football, and I mean, Seahawks obviously looked good. Geno looked really good. He had a 40-yard rushing touchdown, I think, at least. I mean, yeah, Denver's not going to be very good. Seattle looks good. They're good at home.
All right. Good news for my division matchup this year with Denver then. And then the 4:25 games, we had Dallas at Cleveland first, and the Cowboys kind of take it to the Browns, 33-17. Um, Cowboys score 27 unanswered points. They're in the middle of that game, and there's a 60-yard punt return for them. Do you see anything else from this game, Luke?
No, but Deshaun Watson's father had passed away before. I don't know if they're going to hang their hat on that being the problem or not, but yeah, did not look good.
Yeah. So the one question I have from that game is, uh, Dak Prescott goes for 179 yards and one touchdown after officially becoming the highest paid player in the league. Are the Dallas Cowboys getting what they're paying for?
Yeah. From what I saw, they took the foot off the gas in that second half. They didn't really need to apply much pressure by passing it downfield, and most of what Dak did in that second half is just time management, run the clock. I think they'll look to, they'll look a lot better on the number side for Dak Prescott going forward. But a lot of that second half was him we're just trying to get out of here with a win.
All right. And then the last afternoon game, we had Washington at Tampa Bay, and the Buccaneers take care of business, 37-20. Mayfield goes 24 for 30, 289 yards in the air, and 4 touchdowns. The big winner of the weekend, Tampa Bay convert 9 of 13 on third downs. Is Tampa's offense that viable, or is Washington just that weak on defense?
I think it's the Tampa offense. They're pretty viable. They've got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and McMillian and Rashid White, I think, running the ball for them. They're pretty good. Baker knows how to spread it around to them. He's shown that now twice. My only thoughts from what I've seen of this game is, what if Cleveland had a quarterback like Baker Mayfield?
What if they did? What could change? What could change? And then Sunday night we had the LA Rams at the Detroit Lions, and this game goes to OT, where the Lions win it 26-20. 750 yards offense in that game. Stafford goes for 317 yards on 34 completions, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. What did you see in this game, Luke?
You said 700 yards of offense, and I could take away from that game is it did not look like that. It was pretty slow paced. Mistakes were kind of boneheaded too on both sides. I'm sure Jared Goff's interview might have been heard by now, but he knows he needs to be playing better, and I'm sure Matthew Stafford. I didn't see him after the game, but I'm sure he knows. Hey, I can't be throwing that ball. Obviously, overtime win for the Lions, exciting. They pretty much just took the ball, handed it to Dave Montgomery, and said, "All right, go win the game." And the Rams could not stop that.
All right, and to wrap up the week, last night on Monday Night Football, we had the New York Jets at San Francisco 49ers. And Luke, I fell asleep during this one. After the first quarter, I just could not keep my eyes open. Was it worth staying up to watch?
No, the outcome was pretty predictable. Jets looked like the Jets. They could not just get off the field on defense. Jordan Mason looks like a first-round pick at running back for the 49ers because they could not stop a run on outside zone or right even between the tackles. Like, it's just pitiful to watch. Clock's running constantly, and they kept throwing flags through most of that first half. Second half, it just kept dragging on a little bit. But yeah, it was pretty evident from the get-go that the Jets were not going to be in this one if they couldn't stop the run, and they never did. And I would be wondering if I'm a New York Jets fan is maybe the guy who's got 13 wins as a head coach may not be the answer. He might be a good DC. Maybe he's not the answer. I hesitate to say anything else because, week one, you want to overreact, but it is an overreaction. It's a good time to start asking is maybe it's time we should move on. We have Aaron Rodgers. Like, he could move the ball a little bit against the 49ers. I mean, most of that game was from behind, though, so he couldn't get Brees Hall going. He couldn't really do anything besides, hey, I'm going to have to step back, drop back, and throw the ball around a little bit, and the 49ers were welcome to it.
All right, there you have it. Well, I think that's it for the NFL this weekend. As far as NCAA football goes, college football, were you able to watch or keep up with anything? The only thing I saw was that shock defeat for the Fighting Irish against NIU, and then obviously I heard about NC State's embarrassment over the weekend as well. But that's all I heard.
Yeah, go Huskies, but also Michigan. They look bad. Defense is good. They don't have 9 defensive linemen now anymore to keep rotating in to stay fresh on defense. So, I mean, Texas just took it to them in the big house. Not much else to say. Their quarterback is what it is at this point. They're not going to be they're not going to be a playoff team. Actually, I'll crown it right now. Michigan, they're going to be looking at 4th place at best in the Big Ten.
All right, sounds like is that a coaching difference or a player difference? I mean, obviously.
I'll lean more into year one without Harbaugh, but also like the quarterback play has to be better if they want to win games. They were asking too much of him. I don't want to say that because he's obviously the starter for a reason, or I don't like saying that, but he's a starter for a reason, and he just could not answer the call. Couldn't get anything going against Texas. They're in a lot of passing situations as well because they ended up trailing to a Texas team who just flat out outplayed them on both sides.
All right. Any other sporting events over the weekend you paid attention to, or any news that you can think of?
Nothing comes to mind except Adrian Newey's at Aston Martin.
Yes, that was a big news. Is that a pretty big loss for Red Bull too, or just a bigger pickup for Aston Martin?
We'll see with the new car, I guess.
All right, time will tell.
The Red Bull's struggling right now, so we'll see what the next car looks like, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll have some F1 action this weekend to look forward to. A whole full slate this weekend. We got NFL, college football, Premier League, F1. What more could you ask for? So we'll be back here in a couple nights with our weekend outlook. But until then, I'm Briley.
And I would.
For Ranchers and Banters, have a great day.